A Board of Trustees meeting for April 27th will be called to order. Will the secretary please call roll? Do we have PJ on there already?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yep. I see his logo, so
Chief Justice Robert J. Torres,
I'm present.
Presiding Judge Alberto C. Lamarena III,
It's muted.
We'll skip over PJ. I saw his logo. He'll probably be back on, but I think we still do have a quorum. Continue.
Guam Bar President Jackie Terlahi, Trustee Donna Muñoz Canata,
I'm here in Ipan at my home in Ipan Talafofo.
Trustee Dr. Christiana Whitman.
Present.
All right, 3 of the 5 members are present, so we do have a quorum. The first item on the agenda is and notice was given 5 working days with publication in the PDN and also the 48-hour notice on February 23rd. The first item is the approval of the minutes of the regularly scheduled meeting of January 23rd. Can I entertain a motion to approve the minutes subject to correction?
Motion.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
All right, it's been moved by Trustee Kanata and seconded by Trustee Whitman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion passes. The next item is under old business is a financial status update.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do that.
Yes, you can.
Your Honor, since our last board meeting, we received $605,602 from DOA. The total amount received for our allotments at $2.3 million, which is 91% of our total allotment request. For APD, the amount received was $650,900, bringing that total to 93% of the allotment request. For this week being payroll, we're expecting from DOA $302,801 a month. For ICJR, which is Improving Criminal Justice Response, that grant that we have gotten, we received additional funding in the amount of $44,208 on February 12, 2024. As of January 31st, we had expended $104,000 from this grant, and the balance for personnel cost and $907.04 for travel and supplies. This funding source will continue to be used for the Advocacy Center, which we also call TAC, which manages the STOP grant funds for domestic violence. This was permitted by federal programs with the governor's office, and we can still use ICJR funds until we get STOP 22 grant funding for the upcoming year. Also for EJC, we invoiced for January 2024. Expenses were submitted to DPHSS, and we're waiting reimbursement for our January expenses. And we'll continue to follow up with DPHSS regarding reimbursement. For the JAG grant that we received for access to counsel, we had $3,000, about $3,000 remaining. We received an extension up till June 2024 for the to use or extend the balance of funds.
All right. Any questions about the financial report? All right, then we'll go to the next item, which is the report from the PDSC Executive Director.
Thank you, Chief Justice Torres. So basically, this is our chart of our active caseload. It's kind of somewhat inflated because we have a bunch of bench warrants outstanding. But if you look at the total pre-trial, post-judgment combined, it's about 5,579. This is slightly inflated because we have a bunch of files that have not been closed on our system, but they may be closed at court. But really, but as far as our active cases, I think those are pretty accurate. The pre-trial cases where we have about 1,020 pre-judgment cases and 851 pre-trial cases on bench warrants. And if you look at it, for the January, we picked up 82 cases. We closed a lot due to conflict because many of these are reappointed cases from Mr. Spivey, who passed. And so in reviewing them, we deem the conflicts cannot be avoided. And so that's why the conflict numbers a little bit high there. If you look at January 2023, it's about 20 fewer cases opened, and even 20 fewer than the year before. And that's because so after January 2023, that's when we created the Civil Law Center. We moved everybody over there. And so they get all our guardianships and all the civil stuff that ordinarily would come in. We're getting those. The civil cases that we do have at the criminal side are cases where it's a protective order and a trial judge determines that a civil defendant might need an attorney to help them with a protective order. So those are the only civil matters that the public defender, the criminal side currently handles. And we think that, it's going to result in the, hopefully reduce conflicts over time, right? I know that the presiding judge was interested in the number of EM applications we made, so we had a little box there. Looks like in 2023, we submitted 86 applications, 30 were approved. And in January of this year, or maybe is this October? Is this just January or is this calendar? Okay, yeah, just January. We submitted 15 applications and 5 were approved. And sometimes even the ones that are not approved, we still try to advocate for EM because some of the rules, we disagree with, right? So sometimes judges overrule or override probation's recommendation. And so, but yeah, as of in January, we only had 5 that were actually approved. And so that's pretty much it for our caseload stats. Anybody have any questions about that?
All right, there's no questions. Anything else to report?
No, I mean, we're still waiting the Sixth Amendment Center report. We anticipate that coming out sometime next month. And so once that comes out, we might have a lot of evaluations and, recommendations that we're going to implement based upon that.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. The next is the report from the APD's Managing Attorney.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Wanted to apologize to the board. We were putting together our stats, but my manager had an emergency, so we couldn't finish them. So I apologize for that. But we were counting the EMP applications just like public defender was. So I'll have it for the next board meeting. So I sincerely apologize for that. Other than that, Steve and I did take part in the court strategic planning meeting. We were able to actually talk to the national state court people in a focus group, and I thought that was really helpful to me and for myself and for Steve. So I hope that our comments are put into the report. Anyway, I don't have anything else. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. CLC?
Morning, Your Honor and members. We submitted our stats. We continue to, of course, assist as much as we could in the community with respect to all the programs that we're operating. We started getting court appointments, Your Honor, in the juvenile cases. Some of them are James Attorney Spivey's cases, and we're trying to stay in those cases where there's no conflict between myself or Dominic and the AG's office. So those cases we've withdrawn from. But if there isn't a conflict, we've remained in the case just so that we can assist the courts in that matter of not having to find another attorney and move the case forward. But now we're getting court appointments on the guardian ad litem matters, which is the program we're trying to build in this office as well with the University of Guam and GCC. But our numbers continue to increase in areas, and we continue to service the community and look at the needs of the community and what we can do to help. So if anyone has any questions, just let me know.
Yeah, and Carol, could you also share that pilot program with Westcare?
Oh yes, we also we just applied and we're going to get a grant from WestCare. And it's a pilot grant with the veterans. So we're going to be providing services to homeless veterans in areas of need, such as either evictions or matters that we currently deal with under similar matters under EJC.
Okay. Any questions? All right. With that, we'll now then, I guess, go into new business. And the first item is the attorney pay plan adjustment. And who's going to speak on this? Are you, Kathy?
I can. So basically what we have, we put a resolution that I think I'm going to be working with the CJ before we actually finalize it. But it's basically trying to get our attorneys to be with DOA's recommended pay plan, where it adjusted all their attorneys for DOA at 24%. We've had several increases for our attorneys at public defender and alternate public defender. So our bottom line is just to get them aligned with DOA's attorney pay plan. So our goal is to have them have a 24, in its entirety, a 24% increase like DOA. So in essence, we're looking for an adjustment of about approximately 2%. That'll bring them at 24.
Yeah. And, I just want to, obviously thank the board for the raise that has been provided to the attorneys. And it appears we were a little more conservative than DOA. So this is just to match what all the other government attorneys on Guam will be receiving.
Yeah, I mean, as we know, the public defender previously made an adjustment to its attorney pay plan to yield a 22% pay adjustment. And then in January of 2024, the governor approved Department of Administration's 2024 attorney plan update, which recommended a base pay adjustment of 24% for all government of Guam attorneys. And so I think the idea is to update the public defender's attorney pay plan to yield a 24% adjustment for all the attorneys to ensure that there's no disparity between the attorneys in the government of Guam. And then that was what the premise of the attorney pay plan was to, provide external equity with the attorneys amongst the government scale. So if we look at the resolution, the resolve clause does talk about an increase of 2% from the current attorney pay plan, which isn't quite accurate because even though we made the adjustment of a 22% and we're now at 22%, the idea is to bring it up to 24%. And if you actually make a 2% adjustment on top of that, it would be higher, but really the idea is to make a 24%. So I would propose an amendment to the resolution, to the resolved clause, and say to update the public defender's attorney pay plan to yield a 24% adjustment for the attorneys. Give me 1 second. A 24% pay adjustment for the PDSC and APD attorneys, and that will ensure that there is no disparity between attorneys in the government of Guam and the PDSC. So that would be my proposed. I'm taking the prerogative as chair to make that proposed change to the resolution, so it's not the 2%, but an adjustment to yield a 24%. The director has told me, managing director has told me that the scale reflects the 24% adjustment and doesn't actually reflect the language that's in the resolved clause. And I haven't gone back to check that, but I'm making it based on that representation as well.
Your Honor, do you want us to motion to approve that?
I'd like a second to my motion.
Okay, I can second that, sir.
All right, it's been seconded by Trustee Munya. So I'll now call for a vote on the amendment to the resolution. All those in favor of the amendment to the resolve clause, say aye.
Aye.
Right, there being no objection, that amendment passes. So the language will be reflected accordingly. And then, so can I entertain a motion on the main amendment? I mean, on the main resolution as amended.
Motion.
It's motion by trustee Talahi. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, it's seconded by trustee Munya. All those in favor say aye.
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 There being no objection, that resolution as amended passes. The next item on the agenda is the executive pay plan. I understand that that's going to be tabled.
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. So that matter will be tabled until the next meeting. Is there anything under public discussion?
No.
All right, so then if there's no objection, can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
All right,
Second.
CJ, half a day.
Half a day, CJ.
Let the record reflect the presiding judge was with us when we voted on that agenda. I didn't know if we got your vote on that
I
matter.
said yes to both.
Okay, so just let the record reflect that the PJ's vote on the attorney pay plan adjustment was a yes, so that it was unanimous with all 5 trustees being present for that. The next meeting will be on March 26th, Tuesday, via Zoom or here at the conference room if you finally want to get together in person. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Be safe.
Thank you.
Board of Trustees meeting will now stand adjourned.
Oh.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks for lunch.